His every waking moment was dedicated to his work. He knew it was the only way to honor his late father's memory and continue the family name. He was so engrossed in thought that he almost didn't see the woman standing by the side of the road with a baby in her arms. The little girl looked to be no more than 5 years old, and she was soaked to the bone. The rain had been pouring for hours, and she had nowhere to go, no one to turn to. She was all alone. Alexander's heart ached for the child. Despite his busy schedule, he couldn't just leave her out in the rain, so he did something crazy. He pulled over, got out of his car, and walked over to the beggar. "Excuse me," he asked politely, "why don't you come stay at my house? I live just down the road. You can stay there as long as you need." The beggar was hesitant at first, but she knew she had no other choice. She was freezing, and the baby was getting cold too. So she thanked Alexander and took him up on his offer. He walked her to his car and helped her get in. Then he drove them both home. All the way there, the beggar couldn't stop thanking Alexander. She told him that her name was Maria and that her baby was 6 months old. She didn't know how she'd managed to survive this long on the streets, but she was grateful for the help. When they arrived at his house, Alexander opened the door for them and ushered them inside. "Make yourself at home," he said, "and feel free to use my phone if you need to call anyone." Maria and her daughter stayed in Alexander's guest room for the night. He brought them blankets and pillows and made sure they were comfortable. He also gave Maria his phone so that she could contact her friends and see if anyone could take care of the baby while she went out to get some food. As soon as the sun began to rise, Alexander got a call from Maria. She told him that she had somewhere to go and that she didn't need his help anymore. He was relieved that she was okay and hung up the phone. But as the day wore on, he started to get worried. He hadn't seen or heard from her since, and he began to wonder if she had forgotten to charge his phone. Just then, his doorbell rang and Alexander went to answer it. Standing on his doorstep was Maria, and she wasn't alone. With her were 3 other women and a handful of children. They all looked at Alexander and smiled. "Thank you so much for helping us yesterday," one of the women said. "We couldn't have done it without you." Before Alexander could respond, the other women and children began to pile into his house. They were all dirty and smelled strongly of stale waste. It was clear that they hadn't bathed in days. Maria stepped forward and explained that these people were part of her church community. They had all been struggling to make ends meet, and she had invited them all to stay at his house until things got better. Alexander was stunned. He had meant for Maria to stay one night, not an entire week, and he certainly hadn't expected her to bring the entire homeless community with her. He tried to tell her this, but she cut him off. "Don't say another word, Alexander," she said firmly. "You offered us your home, and we are simply taking you up on your offer." With that, she turned around and went back to her friends and family. Alexander stood there dumbfounded as he watched them settle in. He knew he should be angry, but he couldn't muster up any anger towards these people. They were clearly going through a tough time, and he was the only one who had offered to help. That's when Alexander realized that he had made a valuable life lesson. Sometimes the people we think are lucky are actually the ones who need our help the most.